Hey, Shalom, Shalom, on the start. For source by giving all praise to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Akakwadash. Double honors to the apostles of GMS and honors to you brothers doing the work in truth or sincerity. This is a quick one on on judgment, right? Because the Lord has basically through his blood has basically made us, allowed us to basically fulfill what was spoken of in Leviticus about the nation of Israel being a nation of kings and priests. That's who we really are, right? And Yahweh has allowed us to obtain that, because pursuant to Hosea 1, right, the Lord said we weren't to be, the basically said, in fact, let me get it, because I'm mincing what the scriptures said. All right, this is Hosea 1, and I'm gonna read from verse 8. It says, "Now when she had weaned Lo Ruhamah, she conceived and bare a son. Then said the Most High, call his name is Lo on me, for ye are not my people, and I will not be your God." Right? But through the blood of Yahushai, right, we were able to be reconciled back to the back to the Most High. Right, this through Yahushai. This is Romans 9:3. For I could wish that myself were accursed from Mashiach, Slaka Yahushai Mashiach, for my brethren, my kinsmen, according to the flesh, who are Israelites, to whom pertaineth the adoption. Right, and that's the point there that I wanted to touch on, the adoption, right, and the glory and the covenants and the giving of the law and the service of the Most High and the promises, right. But the adoption, because it's through Yahushai, right, Yahushai became an intercessor between the nation of Israel, right, a mediator, right. It says Hebrews 8:6 says, "But now hath he obtained a more excellent ministry, by how much also he is the mediator of a better covenant, which was established on better promises." Right, so basically that promises we're going to be a nation of kings. One of those promises will be a nation of kings and priests, right? But in doing that, in fact, let me read that also in here. Revelation 5:9 says, "And they sung a new song, saying, Thou art worthy to take the book and to open the seals thereof, for thou wast slain and hast redeemed us, the Most High, by thy blood, out of every kindred and tongue and people and nation, and hast made us unto our power, right, kings and priests, and we shall reign on the earth." Right, so we're a nation of kings and priests through the sacrifice of Yahushai, right. However, in that, right, but okay, let me put it more like this. Right now, we're training to do that. Right, we may get it wrong every now and then, right, but the aim is, to always judge righteous judgment, right. There's stuff that's written in the scriptures, right. There's wisdom involved as well. And I've got an example to read of King Solomon, right? But it's all about judging righteous judgment. This is John 7:24 says, "Judge not according to the appearance, but judge righteous judgment." Right? So don't rest judgment. You see someone's going off, and if they're going off, they're going off. Right? Whether it's your mother, if you catch your mother committing adultery, right? You gotta report that. You can't just keep that under wraps. Right, you gotta put down the basically follow what the law says, man. Right, you can't say, "Oh well, you're my mother, my sister, my brother, so you don't have to be put to death, but anyone else does." Right. This is 1 Kings 3:16 says, "Then came there 2 women that were harlots, whores, unto the king, and stood before him. And the one woman said, O my Lord, I and this woman dwell in one house, and I was delivered of a child with her in the house. And it came to pass the 3rd day after that I was delivered, that this woman was delivered also. And we were together. There was no stranger with us in the house, save we 2 in the house. And this woman's child died in the night, because she overlaid it. And she arose at midnight, took my son from beside me, while thine handmaid slept, and laid it in her bosom, and laid her dead child in my bosom. And when I arose in the morning to give my child suck, behold, it was dead. But when I had considered in the morning, behold, it was not my son which I did bear. And the other woman said, Nay, but the living is my son, and the dead is thy son. And this said, No, but the dead is thy son, and the living is my son. Thus they spake before the king. Then said the king, the one saith, This is my son that liveth, and thy son is dead. And the other saith, Nay, but thy son is the dead, and my son is the living. Right, so King Solomon right now is having to, hear the two accounts of the story, this, that, and the other, right? He won't go and do a DNA test or whatever, right? It says, and the king said, Bring me a sword. And they brought a sword before the king. And the king said, Divide the living child in two, and give half to the one and half to the other, right? So you're basically saying, cut the child in half and share. Right, it says, Then spake the woman whose the living child was unto the king, for her bowels yearned upon her son. And she said, O my lord, give her the living child, and in no wise slay it. But the other said, Let it neither be mine nor thine, but divide it. Then the king said, Give her the living child, and in no wise slay it. She is the mother thereof. And all Israel heard of the judgment which the king had judged, and they feared the king, for they saw the wisdom of the Most High was in him to do judgment. Right, so in this situation, you could have very easily got emotional, could have very easily done this, done that, right? But wisdom prevailed, right, and righteous judgment was met, right? And that's that's one of the things that we've got to request and pray for, that we can judge righteous judgments and make these kinds of decisions, right? No, you can't get emotional. You can't project what you've been going through onto someone else when you're judging it. You can't, you got to be impartial, right? Let's say you got a situation where, hey, I think that's the point. I think the point's been made, man. So, like I said, Salaki, like the scripture says, man, judge righteous judgment, right? Until the next time, we'll say Shalom.